This is Fantasy Football Picks and Bets on the Mayo Media Network, presented by PrizePicks. Have you signed up to play in the Mayo Media Network season-long props contest on PrizePicks? If not, shame on you, but there is time to rectify that right now. One, if you already have a PrizePicks account and you just play a $7.11 entry for football, 5 picks, over-unders each week, you're in the contest. The $7.11 entry will register for the Mayo Media Network Props Contest. If you have not signed up yet, easy stuff. Go to prizepicks.com, use code MMN, or just use that link that's down in the description. You'll get a deposit match for up to $100. So over 18 weeks to be a part of the contest, it's going to cost you $7.11 per week. That's around $130 for the year. So even if you want to put in $65, get a $65 match, boom, you're covered if you want to play in the contest. $3,000 for first prize, $1,500 for second, $1,000 for third. Weekly giveaways. If you get 5 of 5, you'll win your 10x entry, so you win 10 times your money, plus a $50 bonus. Hey, and even if you come in last, there is money for that, as long as you're playing every single week. So what I'm going to be doing today is going through the Thursday Night Football prize picks that maybe we can try to win some cash on that and build our bankroll. And then momentarily, Griffin Swanson will be by to break down the DraftKings slate for Showdown for Thursday Night Football. And there's going to be tons more on the feed coming out every single day as well, including a live chat if you got start-sit questions on Sunday morning on Mayo Media Network. So please smash the like button to the video, subscribe to Mayo Media Network, and in the comment section, give me your single favorite prop for Thursday Night Football, whether it be a fantasy score, receiving prop, a rushing prop, a passing prop, no matter what it is. Maybe it's first touchdown, Gronk, 16-1. Don't hate it. I'm not going to lie to you. So that could be a spot where you end up going as well, as we try to parse through the opening game of the season. I'm hyped for the beginning of football, so let's just jump into the prize picks right now. And you can see Dak Prescott, rushing yards, or I'm on the rushing yards tab right now on prize picks. Oh, additionally, I do want to let you know before we break it all down, starting on Friday on prize picks, the over-under on Patrick Mahomes for passing yards is going to be 0.5. So that's probably one you want to include in your Mayo Media Network contest. It's most definitely going to be on mine. I'll have a full breakdown of my picks on Friday evening, along with the injury report and the updated rankings on the Fantasy Football Picks and Bets feed. But that's just sort of a free money giveaway that they're doing. So you just need to find one more to pair together. You see, you pair that one with another one, and you get 3 times your money on that entry if you just get the one right. Because hopefully Patrick Mahomes can throw for over 0.5 passing yards this week against the Browns. Back to Thursday night. So let's see what we're up to on this one. Ronald Jones. I'm going to use the tools from Run the Sims to really help me getting going. There's a player prop tool on here. We'll try to scan to see. There's some Sunday week ones. We're just talking about Thursday night week 1 for prize picks right now. It really depends on how this game is going to go, at least in your mind. Is it going to be a situation where Dallas covers the 8? Do they lose by more than the 8? The game total is really high, so I'd expect a lot. 295.5 passing yards for Tom Brady. I want to see how that rates out in terms, because, obviously it's just a pure over or under. There's no real juiced line into it because it's not a betting prop. It's just a fantasy prop that you need to pair together. So was it 295.5? And we'll see how often, not rushing yards, we want passing yards. Tom Brady probably not going to rush for 300 passing yards, I hate to say, even in the opener. Let's see how that looks on runthesims.com. So the under actually turns out to be a slight favorite in terms of the bet. Happens 54% of the time. I think we can do better than that, though, right? Let's check back here. 285.5 for Dak Prescott. That seems like it should be the number. Let's take a look at receiving yards in this game. Chris Godwin is still up there. He's injured for this contest. We don't know if he's going to play or not. Obviously, Thursday morning, we'll get a better sense of it. But 60.5, he should smash that. Even at like 80%, you'd have to think, because he typically does well when everyone is playing in this game. So 60.5 in terms of receiving yards for Chris Godwin. Let's see how often that comes through in this. The over, it's 55% in this case versus 44.7 to 55.3. So the over is looking good for Chris Godwin in this game. And I don't know who's stopping anyone on the Dallas defense. And even the Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, we got some pretty juicy one here. So I don't like the Gronk receiving yards total. Like if you're using him, the expectation would probably be that he ends up with a touchdown in this game. 58.5 for Antonio Brown, CeeDee Lamb. These seem so enticing. I actually think I like the over on Ezekiel Elliott, 20.5 rushing yards. Or receiving yards, sorry. I have a feeling that the tool is going to tell me that that is not a good line and that the under hits more. But I think with the way that this game goes, let's see, no, the over actually is a good bet in this circumstance. And when we think about how this game is going to go, if Dallas falls behind early against Tampa Bay, they probably have to abandon the running attack, and it's going up against the number 1 rush defense anyway. So maybe that's just a part of the plan. That if you think that Tony Pollard doesn't really eat into Zeke's workload, which I don't, that he's going to be used quite a bit in the receiving game. So that's the one that I like. Ezekiel Elliott over 20.5 receiving yards on PrizePicks. We'll make that the first part of ours. So, and now we need to find someone else from the Buccaneers to pair with us if we're only going to play the Thursday night slate. So we got receptions in here as well. Too bad I can't go Zeke because I would do that almost 100% of the time. Just try to correlate those two together, but you can't do that on PrizePicks. So that's a little bit tougher. But we can find other guys from these games to go with. Over 5 for Amari Cooper, over 5 for Godwin, 3, 1.5 for O.J. Howard. None of these are really leaping out to me. Passing completions might be the move. So 25.5 for Dak Prescott. That actually seems kind of low. Let's put that in for him. 25.5 in terms of passing completions. This tool is up at runthesims.com, by the way, if you just want to see the probabilities. It runs each game 5,000 times instantaneously and then gives you the range of outcomes that you can see right now. So the over on pass attempts is it's an exact 50-50. The overjuice, the betting line, pass attempts, I want completions. I was like, yeah, 100% of the time that happens, does it? It's not even factoring injuries. Pass completions. Well, the under actually comes through by a 0.2 margin in terms of the actual odds. I think I would lean towards that, though, because I just don't see the Cowboys really going full force. No receiving TDs from this game. Mike Evans over 0.5. I can kind of jibe with that a little bit. I don't know if I love it, though. I think the Dak over passing completions would be the way that I want to go in this game. Maybe I can try to find another one. I really hope Godwin's okay, because Godwin's really the one that leaps out to me in this spot as someone who will go over the same. It might be like 81, it might be 74, but he tends to get over that 60 threshold when he, Brown, and Mike Evans all play. The other guys could be more touchdown dependent. Trying to find an easy one down here. Man, there's not really from this game. Like even 46.5 for Gallup. It really feels like that's a huge under or a huge over, unless you're really feeling that one. If Gio is healthy, Ronald Jones 5.5 receiving yards. Where do we have him at reception? So 1 would be a push. Does he get 2? I mean, it's a 3-headed backfield. Gio's healthy. He's the primary pass catcher. I think I'd go under on the 1 reception for Ronald Jones. That's tough because it's probably like leading yourself towards a push right now. Now you get the power play. If you do the power play and you just do the 2, it would be 3 times your money. So you put in 60 on PrizePicks to win, or put in 20 on PrizePicks to win 60. On the flex play, you must hit 2 of the 2 entries. You get half your money back if only one of them hits. Now the push is just a push. Maybe we won't go with Ronald Jones. That one just leads itself to too many pushes in that regard. Michael Gallup receptions. 4. Now, they are going to be throwing a lot, which would lead me to believe that if Gallup over 4 hits, Dak over 25.5 completions probably hits. However, if we just take a look at Michael Gallup very quickly, we want Michael Gallup, and we go to receptions, and the line is 4 on that one. 4 is a good number, I think. Yeah, under 4 receptions, it's 53% of the time. It's not the biggest swing in our favor, but we also get a push on 4 at the same time. So let's go with that one. Ezekiel Elliott over 20.5 receiving yards. And then we're going to go with receptions. Yeah, over 20.5 receiving yards, and then under Michael Gallup 4 receptions. So you'd have to get 5 in order to beat us. I mean, how often does Michael Gallup do that? So if we do the power play, get both right, 20 to win 60, 100 to win 300, 50 to win 150. It can all work out. There's also the fantasy scores for this game as well. I mean, geez, Dak, 25 points? I feel like that's his median projection at this point. Do we have, let's see, fantasy points. Fantasy points PPR is what we're going with here. 20.5 for Dak Prescott. See what we're doing here on this. I got to feel like it's a strong over. That's not as strong as the under actually hits more often than not if we just look at where the median ends up coming in. So maybe that one's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Blake Jarwin, if he scores a touchdown, you're screwed, or goes 3 for 30, you're screwed. Gallup, see, it's funny because Gallup at 11, it's funny because he could go under 4 and still crush this fantasy score, mainly because he's a guy who would go 3 for 98 and a touchdown. That's sort of what you're leaning on in that regard. Can we keep Leo Fournette out of the end zone? How do we feel about Leonard Fournette? Uncle Leo, that could be low. 7 fantasy points. It seems super low, but we don't know what his workload is going to be. I think it's Ronald Jones, and if Gio is healthy, which by all metrics is that he is going to be healthy and playing primarily on third downs, that you're not going to see a bunch of Fournette. Over actually smashes in this spot for Leonard Fournette. Oh, man. I should really trust the tools, but that it's me. I'm not going to trust the tools in this regard. So I'm going to go Zeke over 20.5 receiving yards and Michael Gallup under 4 receptions on PrizePicks this week. That's going to be my play, and that's the way that we're going to go with it as the first entry of the season. Remember to play in the props contest. You just have to sign up for PrizePicks using code MMN or the link down in the description, and that will do it for me for the moment. Coming up right now is Griffin Swanson with the Thursday Night Showdown DraftKings Picks.
Yo, what is good, everyone? It's great to be back on the Mayo Media Network. My name's Griffin Swanson, and I'm here to break down the Thursday NFL Showdown slate between the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's right, folks. Football is finally back. I'm excited. I'm sure you are as well. But before we dive into things here, first thing you got to do, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on the Mayo Media Network page. These guys are posting content all week long, multiple different sports. Pat and his team do a very good job of keeping the content rolling, including this football season. They're going to have content out Monday through Sunday, tackling all your needs, whether it be showdown, tiers, or just the DFS main slate. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. For you podcast people, head on over to the Apple Pods as well. Check out the content there. Leave a 5-star review while you're at it. And speaking of exciting, if you haven't signed up for PrizePicks yet, first and foremost, head on over to PrizePicks.com and check it out. But Pat and his team at the Mayo Media Network are running a contest or a challenge this year on PrizePicks, and this is going to run weeks 1 through weeks 18. It's called the 7-11 Challenge, and I'm going to post the rules here right now so you can take a look at those yourself, but the contest is pretty straightforward. Now, first and foremost, if you have not signed up for PrizePicks yet and you want to do so, make sure you use code MMN upon sign up or click on the link in the description below. PrizePicks is going to match your deposit up to $100. Actually, if you just want to put $65 in there as well, they'll match $65 for you, and you'll have everything that you need for the year for this 7-11 challenge. Now, this is going to cost you $7.11 each week, and what you're going to do is you're going to submit a 5-pick over-under entry on the NFL slate. Now, this does exclude Monday night, as you can see there, but it does include the Thursday slate and all of the Sunday games. If you have a PrizePicks account already, you're good to go. You just need to play $7.11 on your entry each week, and the PrizePicks algorithm is going to pick that up. You might wonder, how are they going to know if I put into this contest? Is there a place that I go? No. You just got to put in $7.11 on this 5-pick over-under entry, and PrizePicks algorithm will pick that up and enter you into the contest. Now, there are weekly bonuses here as well. As you can see, they're $50 if you get all 5 picks right, on top of you winning 10x on your money. That's the beautiful thing about PrizePicks as well. Pat and his team are just giving you a little extra incentive to play this PrizePicks challenge. You can see there as well, they're going to have some decent payouts come the end of the season. First place is going to walk away with $3,000. Second place, $1,500. Third place, $1,000. Fourth place, $500. And fifth is going to walk away with $250. Now, there's also a $100 bonus for the person who comes in exactly the middle of the standings, and another $100 bonus for the person who comes in dead last. Now, in order to qualify for those, you will have to make an entry in weeks 1 through weeks 18. You can't come in week 1, go 0 for 5, and go, hey, look, I'm dead last. I'm going to win $100. That's not how it works. You do have to play all 18 weeks. And if you still come in dead fucking last, then yes, you're going to get a $100 bonus in your account. You can only get to make 1 entry per week, and the leaderboard will update on Monday night. So you'll be able to kind of keep track of that as the year goes along as well. And your 5-pick entry, again, it needs to be put in for $7.11 each and every week. That's how they'll be tracking this. Again, the algorithm will pick that up and enter you into the contest. So that's the PrizePicks challenge. Let's dive into this spreadsheet here. So diving into it here, the first thing I like to do with these spreadsheets is just go over the Vegas odds for this game. You can see that here in the top left-hand corner. Cowboys are playing on the road here in Tampa, and the Bucs are heavy favorites here at minus 380. I think rightfully so. Defending Super Bowl champions. They basically are bringing back their entire roster, offense and defense. There was very little turnover for this Bucs team during the offseason, and there's definitely some question marks around this Cowboys team. Well, I definitely think the offense is going to be a high-flying offense this year in general. We don't know what Dak is going to look like here in week 1 coming off of that injury, and that defense is definitely sketchy as well. Tampa should be able to throw the ball all over the field against these guys. So minus 380, heavy home favorites there, and you can see they're an over-under of 52 points. Definitely some shootout potential in this game as well. And then directly below that, listing out 6 showdown stats that I felt were important to cover here as well before you start to build your lineups on Thursday. So I'm going to go over these pretty quickly. Obviously, if you want to take a screenshot of these, you can certainly do that as well. But let me move my fat head out of the way there and go over these. Rule number 1, or stat number 1, 92% of all showdown lineups rostered at least one quarterback. 96% of the top 1% lineups did as well. Basically saying, get one of the quarterbacks in your lineups. Number 2 there, 33% of all lineups rostered a wide receiver at captain, and that was optimal in the top 1%, 31.4% of the time. Number 3 there, 57% of the top percent lineups rostered a captain from the team favored to win. So the Buccaneers, for example, here. Number 4 there, run it back. An opposing quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end was included in 88.9% of winning lineups that rostered a quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end from the other team as a captain. Number 5 there, ignore defense and kickers in the captain spot. It's very rare that that's going to work out. 1.1% of the time it finished in the top 1% of lineups. And number 6 there, don't play more than 2 kickers or defenses in the same lineup. Usually 1 is fine as well. I typically don't put more than 1 myself. So 6 stats from 2020 for the most optimal and top lineups when it came to NFL showdowns. But all right, let's dive into my favorite plays here for Thursday. Then what I like to do is list out a captain from both sides of this game. As you can see, one of the statistics there is your captain should probably be from the winning side of this game or from the favorite team, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here, obviously at minus 380. But I do like to play a little bit of devil's advocate as well and just say, hey, if you want to go the opposite route and play someone from the Cowboys, you can definitely do that as well. So that's something you'll see consistently with these showdown spreadsheets throughout the year. Now, there's actually a lot to love about both of these offenses here. Both teams have 3 legit wide receivers that you can roster in your lineups and a few tight ends that caught my eye as well. But let's start off here with the captains. So the first captain I like, as you can see, obviously, is on the Cowboys side, and I'm going to roll with Dak Prescott. I mentioned earlier, definitely some question marks here with him coming into the season after that gruesome injury last year. But this dude came out on fire in 2020, largely due to the amount of volume where he was throwing the ball 40, 50 plus times a game. And that's because his defense wasn't very good last year. And again, I don't foresee them getting much better here this year. Yes, Micah Parsons is there, and I think he's going to be a flat-out stud at linebacker. But is he really going to completely change this defense, especially as a rookie? Probably not. So Dak is more than likely going to be playing from behind in this game, or the Cowboys are in general, which will likely lead to him throwing the ball more than the Cowboys want him to. But just look at his numbers here when he opened up the season last year. 17.6 DraftKings points, 43.8, 33.5, 42.3. Those are absolutely astonishing numbers, especially for a quarterback. Now, not only do I expect this guy to throw the ball a lot here in week 1 playing from behind, he also has that rushing upside as well, which is always intriguing from a quarterback perspective. So this guy has 30, even 40 plus DraftKings point upside, which is why he stuck out to me for the captain spot. You could go with CeeDee Lamb here or even Amari Cooper, but Dak's going to be the guy for me just based off the numbers that he had to begin last year, and kind of a similar scenario here heading into week 1 with a bad defense and the Cowboys likely playing from behind. And then on the Buccaneers side of things there, I'm going to roll with Antonio Brown. Honestly, I'm okay with any one of those top 3 wide receivers for the Buccaneers in the captain spot here. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, or Antonio Brown. I legit believe that all 3 of these guys have 30 plus DraftKings point upside in any given matchup. I think you're going to see that kind of throughout the season, one of these guys is going to have a big game, but it's not going to be the same guy week in and week out. AB at $8,400 here was really hard to ignore for me. I'm hoping we can get him at lower ownership, especially in the captain spot here. I don't know if we necessarily will at that price tag, but he's technically still the wide receiver number 3 in this offense, so hopefully he goes a little overlooked. But this Dallas secondary, I talked about it. Last year they were abysmal, and I just don't think they got much better this offseason. So I'm okay, again, with any one of those top 3 Bucs wide receivers in the captain spot here, but give me a little AB, especially at this price tag. All right, now diving on down here to my flex plays. First thing I want to mention, though, here is that correlation is huge in showdown lineups. It's huge in DFS in general, but especially when it comes to showdown slates. So if you're going to be rostering a wide receiver as a captain, you likely want to pair them up with their quarterback in a flex play. Vice versa, too. If you're going to be rostering someone like Dak as your captain, you likely want to put someone like Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, or even Blake Jarwin in a flex spot as well. Sure, Dak could rush for 2 touchdowns, but if they're going to be playing from behind, which I suspect they will be, one of these pass catchers is likely going to have a decent game as well. So the correlation is definitely big there, which is why I like Tom Brady, especially considering I'm probably going to roster one of those wide receivers for the Bucs in my captain spot. I want to put Tom Brady then in a flex spot. And this guy was great, especially towards the end of the season when he really started to figure out that Bucs offense. And I believe he's in a spot here against this bad Dallas secondary where he could throw for 3+ touchdowns and 300+ yards, getting you that 3-point DraftKings bonus, which is huge in showdowns. On top of that, he's got weapons galore. His top 3 wide receivers are elite, and he's got Gronk there as well, who's pretty damn good himself, especially in the red zone. Even though he's $11,200, I'm not afraid to go with Tom Brady here, especially if I'm going to be rolling out one of those Bucs wide receivers in the captain spot. And then we got Mike Evans there at $9,200. As I mentioned earlier, we can definitely put him in the captain spot as well, but love him as a flex play too. Just like AB a little bit more in the captain spot, considering he's so cheap at $8,400, and that is his captain price tag. If you want to put AB in the flex spot, he's even cheaper there. But Evans, in my opinion, is the number 1 wide receiver in this offense. Some might argue Chris Godwin, but it's Evans for me. You can see here, led all Bucs wide receivers last year in targets, receptions, touchdowns, and tied Gronk with 21 red zone targets as well. So I love this guy, such a gamer. He basically battled an injury all last year as well. That does not matter. He even hyperextended his knee right as the playoffs were about to start. Like I said, this dude is a gamer, and I love him in the captain spot or as a flex play. And then below Evans there, we got a couple of Cowboys wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. I by all means think Amari Cooper is viable as well. Honestly, flip a coin between him and CeeDee Lamb. I just lean towards CeeDee Lamb a little bit more because I think he's going to have a fantastic year in 2021. But the ceiling for both Amari and CeeDee is very similar. So honestly, I'm okay with either one of those guys. And look, they have a tough matchup here against a very good Bucs defense. It's not going to be easy for them on Thursday night. However, based off the game script that I'm kind of projecting here, where the Cowboys are playing from behind, throwing the ball quite a bit, especially in the second half, Amari and or CeeDee Lamb could legit see 10+ targets, and that's really intriguing to me. So again, I lean towards CeeDee Lamb. I just think that he's going to be a little bit better than Amari this year, but him or Amari, like I said, flip a coin. Either one of those guys are certainly fine, especially if you're going to be playing Dak in the captain spot. You're probably going to want to correlate it with one of those 2 guys. Now, with Michael Gallup here, it's a little different story. First and foremost, he's a lot cheaper at $6,200, and he is the number 3 wide receiver in this offense. But that's really what sticks out to me. Considering he is the number 3 wide receiver in this offense, he should likely carry the least amount of ownership between him, Amari, and CeeDee Lamb. And that's huge for showdowns as well, especially if you're trying to win a GPP or at least finish towards the top. If you just play all the popular plays, well, you're probably going to have a lineup that gets duplicated by your opponents. And at $6,200 here, that's very reasonable for a guy who has 20, even 30+ DraftKings point upside. No, it's not going to happen all that often. In fact, more weeks than not, it's not going to happen. However, we saw it last year. He had 28 DraftKings points against Seattle and 33 DraftKings points against the Philadelphia Eagles. 2 very bad secondaries, but he has that upside to say the least. So at $6,200 here, you get him at a cheap price tag and can likely get him at low ownership as well. And then we got a couple of tight ends there, Gronk and Blake Jarwin. Start with Gronk. We know what to expect from him, right? It's not the same Gronk that we used to watch years ago who'd get 10 plus targets, 100 plus yards, and multiple touchdowns week in and week out. This is red zone Gronk, and honestly, I'm okay with that because touchdowns come at a premium, especially in showdowns. We don't have 13 different games to choose from or 100 different players. We're focusing in on one individual game. And while there is some shootout potential here with an over-under 52 points, is it crazy to think that Gronk goes out and scores 2 touchdowns in week 1? I don't think it is. The guy saw 21 red zone targets last year, tied Evans on this Bucs team. So again, touchdowns come at a premium, and Gronk might lead this entire slate with touchdown upside. Blake Jarwin here, a little different story. This is a guy who's coming off an ACL tear and really hasn't proven a whole lot throughout his NFL career. However, he was playing with the number ones once again during the preseason, and he had one catch that he looked pretty decent on, put the Cowboys in the red zone. Now, you could go with Dalton Schultz here. I believe that he's going to work with the ones too, but I think Blake Jarwin might go a little bit under-owned and might even get him at lower ownership than Dalton Schultz, especially considering that Blake Jarwin is more expensive. So again, you're probably looking for touchdown upside here with these tight ends, including Blake Jarwin, but a punt play that kind of stuck out to me with low ownership, who might get you a touchdown, 50 yards, and have 4 catches, but that would definitely meet value here at this price tag of $5,200. And then we got Ronald Jones there, the first running back that I'm mentioning here on the spreadsheet. And look, it's because I don't love the running back situations in this game. For Zeke, he's going up against one of, if not the best rushing defense in the NFL in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the game script is not very good for Zeke either. I've mentioned it a couple times now. I suspect that the Cowboys are going to be playing from behind in this game, which usually doesn't lead to a lot of rushing attempts. Yes, he could get involved in the passing game, but if he's not going to be touching the ball a whole lot on the ground, I probably don't want anything to do with that. Ronald Jones, however, the game script does make sense for him, in my opinion. Yes, I understand that Leonard Fournette and Gio Bernard are still going to get involved as well, but I suspect that they'll be involved a little bit more on the passing side of things than the rushing side of things, and based off the game script here that I'm projecting, is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get out to a lead by halftime, and they run the ball a lot more frequently in the second half. That bodes well for someone like Ronald Jones. It could be Leonard Fournette. We've seen it at times where Bruce Arians just goes with the hot hand, but I'm going to go with Ronald Jones here, especially at this price tag here at $5,000. He is not expensive whatsoever, and again, I'm just kind of going off of the game script that I believe will happen, which is the Bucs get out to a lead and run the ball a lot in the second half, so give me some Ronald Jones based off of that. And then wrapping it up here with a defense and a kicker. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to play more than 2 defenses / kickers in any given lineup. In fact, I usually go with 1, and I think that's more than enough. There's going to be lineups that I build where I don't put a defense or a kicker in there either. Like I said, there's shootout potential in this game, and oftentimes when there's shootout potential, playing a defense really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. However, based off the question marks that we have with Dak, this Cowboys team in general, I certainly don't mind this Buccaneers defense. They were lights out, especially towards the end of the year last year, and really helped bring this team to a Super Bowl. I know Brady was great. They have a lot of offensive weapons, but don't sleep on this Bucs defense either. So I don't mind going with them just based off of some of the question marks that we have with Dak. But outside of that, if you think this game does turn into an ultimate shootout, then I'm probably fading defenses in general. And then I went with Ryan Suckup here, the Buccaneers kicker, just based off the Bucs being heavy home favorites at minus 380. I'd be surprised if they don't score at least 28 plus points against this bad Dallas defense. And look, this is a kicker who averaged 9.4 DraftKings points per game in 2020, which is more than any skill player listed below him on this DraftKings slate, except for Gio Bernard. So keep an eye out for things like that as well. Definitely caught my eye when I was looking at that. Sure, there's guys below 4K who might have the potential to have 2 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. That does happen from time to time, but not all that often. So I'm going to go with Suckup just because the Buccaneers are heavy home favorites and should be able to put up a lot of points against this Dallas defense. All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up the video here for today. First and foremost, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch these videos. I really do appreciate that. Appreciate the Mayo Media Network having me on here as well. Really excited for this football season and really excited for the NHL season as well. Don't want to dip into that quite yet, but stay tuned for some NHL content coming in 2021, 2022. Again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and enter into the PrizePicks challenge. Again, use code MMN upon sign up. Or just click on the link in the description below. Bet $7.11 per week. You have a chance at winning $3,000 come the end of the season. Again, thank you all for taking the time here today. Let's have a great day. Let's have a great week. Let's win some money on Thursday as well. I'm out of here.